The moment our plane touched down in the Maldives, I squeezed Karen's hand, my heart swelling. 30 years. Can you believe it? I asked with a smile. She laughed softly, her eyes twinkling. I can, and I'd do it all over again. The island breeze wrapped around us as we stepped off the plane, excitement bubbling for our anniversary trip. The resort was breathtaking, powdery white sand, crystal clear waters stretching to the horizon. It was paradise, until everything fell apart. As we unpacked and settled in, an unexpected voice called out, "Logan? Karen?" We turned to see Megan and her husband, Jerry, old acquaintances from work. A small world, indeed. We exchanged pleasantries, promised to catch up later, and moved on, ready to enjoy our time alone. But that evening, under a sky painted in hues of orange and purple, Karen shattered our perfect world. Sitting on our villa's balcony, she turned to me, her expression unreadable. "I need to tell you something," she began, her voice calm. "I want to sleep with Jerry." I froze, sure I had misheard. "What?" "I've thought about it for a while," she said, eyes steady. "Jerry and we have a connection, and since we're all here, I think this is the right time." My stomach dropped. "You're telling me on our anniversary that you want to be with another man?" "It's not about hurting you," she insisted, reaching for my hand. I pulled away, disbelief turning to anger. "Not about hurting me? How the hell do you think this feels?" Her face remained maddeningly calm. "I still love you, Logan, but I need this. Megan's on board too. She's always found you attractive. This could be good for both of us. A chance to feel alive again." I stared at her, every word cutting deeper. "You think this will save our marriage?" "Yes," she said without hesitation. "The excitement, the passion, it's faded. This could bring it back." "By sleeping with other people?" I laughed bitterly, rage rising in my throat. She smiled as if reassuring me. "It's not betrayal if we agree. We can explore without guilt." My voice turned cold. "If you go through with this, our marriage is over," she shrugged, unfazed. "I paid for this trip. I'll enjoy it however I please. If you want to sulk, that's your choice. But I won't let you stop me." My fists clenched. 30 years together, and this is your idea of celebration? "It's not cheating if I'm honest," she said, her voice almost mocking. "And if you refuse, I'll just have a threesome with them instead." "I'm fine with that." The room spun, nausea rolling through me. Every memory of our life together felt trampled under her selfishness. When I returned to the villa later, she stood in front of the mirror, brushing her hair, applying lipstick, preparing for him. She turned, flashing a smug smile. "Last chance, darling. You can join in, or stay here and imagine me with Jerry and Megan." Her words hung in the air, a final taunt. I stepped forward, my voice steady and cold. "Last chance, Karen. You can save our marriage or destroy it. But if you choose this, you won't like the consequences. Karen, you're a mess. Honestly, it's like a damn wild animal crawled between your legs and died there. And now it's starting to rot." I saw her eyes flash with rage, but I didn't stop. If anything, my smirk grew wider. "So no, my dear, you're not the only one who's had to fake it. I tried because I loved you. But since you've made it your life's mission to destroy that love and humiliate me, I figured it's only fair I respond in kind." Her fists clenched, shaking at her sides, but I just turned to the nightstand, grabbed my electric trimmer, and tossed it onto the bed next to her. "No matter how much you dress up tonight, I know exactly how your night's going to end. Here, take my trimmer. Jerry will thank me." She stood there, seething, her breath quick and furious like some fairy tale wolf about to blow the house down. And for the first time tonight, I saw it, the crack in her composure. Maybe it was the rotting animal comment. Maybe it was the fact I wasn't crumbling the way she expected. Either way, I knew I'd hit a nerve. Still, she turned back to the mirror, spraying herself with expensive perfume, like drowning in fragrance would somehow mask the stench of betrayal. I watched, silent but simmering, my anger cool and steady now. She thought she held the upper hand tonight, but she had no idea how far she'd pushed me. She walked toward the door, her heels clicking across the floor with forced confidence. But just as she reached it, she hesitated. I saw the slight flicker of her eyes toward me, waiting, maybe hoping I'd break, that I'd stop her, beg her to stay. Instead, I leaned forward, elbows on my knees, and chuckled. "You're forgetting. The trimmer." Her lips pressed into a thin line. She didn't say a word, just turned and walked out, never looking back. I stared at the empty doorway, and that's when the weight hit me. 30 years of marriage, 3 decades of love, laughter, struggle, reduced to this. For what? A night with some younger guy? A desperate bid to relive her youth at the expense of everything we built? My fingers tightened around my phone. My marriage was over. There was no saving this. But I wasn't going to sit back and let her walk away without consequences. Scrolling through my contacts, I found my daughter's number. Beth answered on the second ring, her voice immediately concerned. "Dad, why are you calling so late?" Swallowed hard, forcing my voice to stay steady. "Beth, your mother planned this entire trip so she could sleep with a younger man. She told me to my face, so I'm leaving. I'm getting on the next flight home and I'm abandoning her here." "Wait, what?" Her voice rose in disbelief. "Dad, slow down! What the hell is going on?" "I just wanted you to know," I said, the lump in my throat almost choking me. "And I'm sorry for what I'm going to do next." "Dad, what does that mean? What are you talking about?" I didn't answer. I ended the call before she could press me further. My heart pounded as I dialed the front desk. The receptionist's voice was warm, professional. "Hello, Mr. Logan. How can we assist you?" "I need to speak to the local police." 2 hours later, as I folded my last piece of clothing into my suitcase, my phone rang. Karen. I let it ring. When it buzzed again, I smiled to myself and kept packing. Before leaving, I spotted her passport on the nightstand. I picked it up, turning it over in my hands. Then, almost without thinking, I slid it into my bag. "Oh dear," I murmured, amused. "How forgetful of me." At the reception desk, I checked out, settling my part of the bill. "My wife will handle the rest," I said with a shrug. "She's staying longer." At the airport, waiting for my flight, felt something I hadn't felt in years. Accomplishment. When I finally got home, Beth was waiting. Her arms were crossed, her expression furious. "What the hell did you do?" "Nice to see you too, sweetheart," I said, feigning innocence. "Don't play dumb. Mom's in jail. The whole system's scrambling to get her out." I raised an eyebrow. "Is that so?" "Dad, the police stormed their villa. No warning. They just barged in. All 3 of them were arrested, and Mom's facing up to 8 years in prison." Leaning against the counter, I let a slow, cold smile spread across my face. 8 years, I mused. That's quite a price for a night with a younger man. "This isn't funny, Dad." Beth's voice cracked with anger. "We need to get her out." "No," I said calmly. "I'm filing for divorce first thing tomorrow." Beth stared at me, stunned. "You can't!" "Yes," I said, my voice razor sharp. "I can! Watch me!" Tears filled her eyes. "You're just going to leave her there?" "Your mother humiliated me," I said quietly. "She thought I'd wait with open arms after she destroyed everything, but even roses have thorns." Beth left without another word. The next morning, my lawyer's eyes widened as he read through the paperwork. "Wait, Karen Wallace? The Karen Wallace?" "Yeah," I said simply. Man. She's all over the news. The U.S. Embassy's in chaos trying to get them out. This case went international overnight. I smiled, slow and satisfied. No kidding. You know, the lawyer said thoughtfully, I'd be happy to take your case. Hell, I'll even give you a discount. Generous, I noted. He shrugged. High-profile cases like this, they make history. Well, I said, leaning back with a smirk. Let's make some history then. It could be career-defining. And since Karen wanted attention, why not give her some real fame? His smirk was almost too eager. I thought about it. Karen had spent years chasing excitement, and now she'd have more attention than she ever dreamed of. I nodded. Fine. Let's do it. The next morning, my name was everywhere. Headlines screamed betrayal and scandal. News anchors dissected my life with fake sympathy. I sipped my coffee, amused, imagining Karen, stuck in some holding cell, watching the world rip her apart. 2 weeks later, the U.S. Embassy brought her home, humiliated but free. I knew she'd come straight to the house. When she dragged her suitcase up the steps, I didn't even let her inside. I opened the door just wide enough for the process server to hand her the divorce papers. Karen Wallace? The man asked, his voice detached and professional. Her eyes flicked between him and me. Logan, please. You've been served, he said. She took the papers with trembling hands. You're divorcing me? She whispered, tears brimming. I folded my arms. What did you think was going to happen? I made a mistake. I still love you. I laughed coldly. Love? You call that love? She broke down, begging for therapy, for a second chance. I shook my head. You need therapy, I'm just fine. We're done, Karen. And I slammed the door in her face. In court, Karen tried defending herself. She claimed she thought cheating would spice up our marriage. The judge sighed. Mrs. Wallace, this court does not consider infidelity a spice. The divorce was swift. I kept my inheritance and my mother's house, but everything else split down the middle. Half my assets gone. Outside the courthouse, Karen approached me, looking tired, worn, maybe even regretful. Logan, I'm sorry. I studied her. I sent the cops for you. Her regret vanished, replaced by rage. What? I tipped them off, made sure they knew exactly where to find you. She lunged at me, but before she could do any damage, bystanders pulled her away. I adjusted my jacket and met her furious eyes. You just made this easier, I said, and the next day, I filed a restraining order. 3 weeks later, I walked into a dog shelter. The noise was comforting, barking, tails thumping, claws scratching. Looking to adopt? A staff member asked. Yeah, German Shepherds. Her eyebrows lifted. How many? 5. 5? She blinked. That's a lot of dog. I grinned. I can handle it. I picked 5 magnificent shepherds, loyal, strong, sharp. Loading them into my SUV, I felt a strange sense of peace. As for Karen, well, she found the attention she always wanted. Word was she'd rebranded herself online, clinging to youth with desperation. But that wasn't my problem anymore. In my backyard, my dogs bounded ahead, tails wagging. I threw a ball, and they chased it with pure joy. This was my life now. No more betrayal, no more drama, just me and my dogs, and I wouldn't have it any other way.